Michael Smith, do my eyes deceive me?
Here.
Welcome to my show. It's nice to have you. Thank you for joining me today.
Yeah, first time, long time. Cowboys, as you know as a Cowboys fan, have been a long-running drama that has captivated our collective imagination, and they've managed to keep doing that, as you know, without the product on the field matching the amount of hype and attention. So that look on your face is priceless. That's a $50 million look you just gave me. I love it. You know, in their younger days, they had a lot to say about other guys, you know, and the grind and loyalty and super teams and this, that, and the other. But then when they get older and their biological clock starts ticking, they change their tunes. Don't be speaking on what somebody else does with their career, because you never know when you're gonna be walking that same path and asking out.
We need to talk about baby daddies not knowing their place. Who is not gonna act like this with Usher? Like, let's just be serious. Usher, baby.
We already saw East Spring act like this. We already seen every single celebrity that has gone up there to be serenaded by Usher has revealed their true selves. Their 14-year-old selves came out and they felt like the man in front of them. So we're not surprised.
That's who I am, but I was not afraid. And today, again, I was getting at the players that are drafted today, and everyone, you know, competitive people, the word dog comes up a lot. That guy's a dog. That guy, well, I was a wolf, okay? I used to eat dogs.
That is straight from the Lonzo from Training Day school of thought. Either you're a wolf or a sheep. Oh, go fetch, dog. I mean, first of all, like when I first heard that from Jerry West, AKA the logo, first thing I said, I was like, you know what we're gonna do on Monday? We're gonna give Jerry West his flowers, because the last time I remember Jerry West being prominent in the news was he was upset about the caricature that is his character in the HBO series Winning Time about the rise of the Lakers dynasty. But like, I think so much is talked about, well, so much is made of how much Jerry West lost, which I believe is 8 of 9 finals appearances, until how great he was gets lost. Like, Jerry West was that dude. Okay, going back to college at West Virginia, all through the NBA, like Jerry West, when you have a conversation about greatest guards in NBA history, it is not a credible conversation without including the logo Jerry West, to say nothing of the executive that he went on to be. You know, I know there's been talk, you know, about modernizing, and should it be Jordan? Should it be Kobe? Rest in peace. Like, should we change the logo? There has not been a more influential, successful, and transformative figure throughout NBA history as a player and executive than that man, Jerry West. So Nat, when he talks, I'll listen. Now I'll shut up and listen to you.
No, I mean, I agree. I mean, the wolf thing feels a little, you know, old school, but that's okay. That's cool. You know, they say dog today. Like,
well, he old.
He wants to say wolf. Well, I don't like to use that word. He's mature, you know. So,
seasoned.
But no, and look, I'm a big fan of Jerry West. You know, he was once with the Warriors organization, so we love him over there. I always feel like it was a loss losing him. So I agree. When he talks, you listen. You know, Jerry West is just, look, I know how you are, Mike, about championships and stuff like that. But just think of, and he's already a legend. He's already an icon. But just think about if he did have a couple more chips, just how even more, if it's possible, revered he'd be, right? So it just goes to show that whole championship thing does matter, like no matter what we say. But I thought it was funny. It was a little cute clip, and I was like, oh, listen to Jerry West.
Well, hey, listen, don't let the cuteness fool you, but just to refresh people's memory, 14-time All-Star, assist champ, 12-time All-NBA, Finals MVP 68-69, which I'm pretty sure was in a losing effort, only person to do that. Obviously a member of the 75th anniversary team, scoring champ as well as assist champ, won the 72 NBA title, as I mentioned, 5-time All-Defensive player. So got it done at both ends. The lack of titles that we talk about has a lot to do with one franchise and one player in particular, and that'd be the greatest winner in team sports history, Bill Russell, who Jerry West likened the next big thing in the NBA, Victor Wembanyama, likened his defensive prowess to maybe the greatest defensive player of all time, Mr. Bill Russell. Rest in peace.
You rarely see someone that combines his brain and his ability. Just watching him play, it's an easy game for him to play. Very easy. Never looked like he's really working. And if you watch really great players, they don't look like they're working hard. They're always in the right place, the right time. But I think when he comes into the league, I think he'll be more of a – if you watch him defensively, he ruins games. I mean, he reminds me a little bit of a bigger Bill Russell with a big reach, coming from everywhere, blind sides. So you're going to – any offensive player is going to have to be really cautious about where he is, because he's going to mess up some offenses, that's for sure.
And when it comes from Jerry West, it's neither hype nor hyperbole. Like, it's credible. You know what I mean? And it's like there's a lot of conversation, which we'll get into, Nat, about the hype machine around Victor Wembanyama. But when Jerry West says that, like, you know he knows. He saw this firsthand with Bill Russell. You're seeing Victor Wembanyama firsthand because you're joining us from Las Vegas at NBA Summer League, where anybody who's anybody in the NBA is naturally, Nat is there. And so when I watch Victor, and I watch in 2 games in Summer League for whatever it's worth, and many would say not worth much. When I watch the way he moves, and the way he alters shots, and the way he affects shots, and the way he blocks shots, and we see him growing. I tweeted this one day. Every time somebody talks about Victor Wembanyama, he grows an inch. Like, he went from 7'2" to 7'3", like people say 7'4" now. It's like he probably still growing at his age, but still, it's like his legend keeps growing. But Jerry West said Bill Russell. I said Elliot from Bedazzled. Like, the dude covers so much ground, it's just sick. So I don't think, will he win 11 championships? No. Okay, nobody's gonna do that again. But can he be one of, if not the most impactful defensive players in the NBA very quickly, if not the best? Yeah, he can be a modern day Bill Russell. Last person I heard get this comparison, Nat, I want to say it was Anthony Davis coming out of Kentucky. Mm-hmm. But this feels more apt. What do you say?
Yeah, what's interesting about it is that he's also he has the offensive game too. So, I actually felt like that was high praise coming from Jerry West. And I was just like, like you just said, like, when he talks, you listen. And I saw Wemby up close. He walked right past me, and the descriptions don't do it enough justice. They don't. Like, I was like, oh my God. Like,
was he 7'6"? Was he 7'7"? What say you?
Listen,
7'12"?
I don't know if I've ever seen anyone this tall before in my life. And, he walked past me so quickly because we were waiting for him to come in last night. I was like, oh my God, this is crazy. So, look, I mean, first of all, he has Pop. He has Popovich, right? And he just signed on and extended his time. So, he's going to be there to get this kid right. And who else better? He had Tim Duncan. So, I just think he's going to be an incredible player. You see it. And that's why all the comments after the first game were so laughable, right? Because whatever happened in that game happened, and it's one game. But, me, he still, wasn't even that great. I mean, he was obviously very good. His stats were good, but I'm like, this is what he's doing, and he still has so much to learn, so much to do. Right. So yesterday watching him was like, he's just an easy 27, easy. It was just crazy.
Right, light work. No, I mean, I'm glad you brought that up because you being the social media queen you are, it's like, since last week we got a whole nother platform now. So I was just trying to figure out Spill. Now we got Threads. It's like just another platform for me to neglect. I think there should be some kind of a rate limit or account suspension for people tweeting dumb shit. There should be some accountability on these accounts that dared call Victor Wembanyama a bust or overrated or wanted to get these jokes off, these hot takes off after his first summer league game. Like, you shouldn't be able to get away with that and keep tweeting through it. Like, you should have to, like, you know what? You're suspended for 60 days, or you can no longer tweet if that's what you're going to put out after this kid plays one summer league game and doesn't shoot well. Still had 5 blocks in that first one.
Yeah.
He going to be like Hassan Whiteside. Like, ain't nobody doing it with blocks. He going to be out here getting triple doubles with blocks, okay, very quickly. But yeah, it was crazy, the reaction to his first game, but which might have also been a blessing in disguise. Because, you know, when you've been this celebrated, there's really nowhere to go but down. So I kind of like that he got that out the way off top. Like, all right, right out of the gate, you know, gonna struggle. Come with all the hatred, come with all the I told you so's, come with all the Rudy Gobert with a green light tweets, whatever people were saying. And not, as if Rudy Gobert's not good, you know, but get that out the way now. Now he can, you know, get on with his life. Get the off the court, you know, drama with Britney Spears out the way now. Now he can kind of get on his way. Go ahead, Nat.
Yeah, and not just that. I mean, I thought like some of his answers were like very revealing between the 2 post games. So one, I think he's incredibly mature already. But like for him to just say like, I didn't know what I was doing out there after the first game.
Yes.
How many, and maybe because he's young, but how many players would actually say that, right? So, and I don't think people realize he's had very little time with his teammates. That's already in general what summer league is, right? And it's in general, like the players don't have a lot of time, but it's not just that. He specifically had very little time because he is the #1 pick and he has had obligations everywhere except being able to do basketball. And that's what he said, you know, after the game last night. Like, you know, he is happy, you know, to be able to get back to basketball because that's all he wants to do. That's all he wants to focus on. And so like he skipped all white party. Oh, why is his name blanket on me?
Oh no, the Vegas party from Fanatics.
Yeah, he skipped.
Rubin.
The guy. Mark Rubin. Yeah. Sorry, Rubin had a party out here. Skipped Rubin's party. He's like, I don't got time for that. Like he is so focused.
Did you skip
on his
it?
Game. Huh?
Did you skip
Did I skip it?
Did you skip
Come
it?
on, you know I'm not getting those invites yet. Yes.
But wait, but you brought up Pop too. I'm gonna get back to your Vegas. We're gonna see what has to stay in Vegas and what doesn't. But you brought up Pop.
Yeah.
Bill Nunn, Hall of Fame scout for the Pittsburgh Steelers. Bill Nunn in scouting meetings, when another scout would bring up a player's strengths and weaknesses, certain weaknesses, if they bring up a weakness, he would say, that's coaching. In other words, like, don't tell me about something that a player or prospect can be taught to do better or that he just hasn't learned yet. Tell me about the things that just cannot be taught. His feet, his hips, his movement skills, you know, those types of things that we can work with. It's our job to bring out the best in this prospect, bring out the best in this person's God-given ability. Victor Wembanyama has so much stuff that you can't teach, and so much stuff that the opponent can't do nothing with. You can't teach 7'12", whatever the hell he is. You can't teach the way he moves like a guard and defends like Bill Russell. You can't teach that type of ability. You can't teach his humility. But what you can teach, Pop has, and that's why they're paying him $80 million. To teach this guy who's still learning how to play basketball, American professional basketball, which I know, you know, the gap between Europe and America is shrinking, if not non-existent at this point in the game's evolution. But nonetheless, he's got so far to go, so far to grow. It's scary to think what he can be once he actually does know what he's doing, Nat.
Right. No, for real. And, you know, I actually think, and I know, like, here I am 2 days in and I'm coming with the hot takes. I mean, he's the #1 pick, so you expect the #1 pick to excel, and there's a lot of hype around him. But I'm watching him in these post games and listening to him, and he has a little bit of it factor there too. Like, I think, you know, I know they've been searching for like their next space, but he has it. Like, just in some of the ways he's answered these questions, he's talked about wanting to win championships. Someone asked him about, I honestly can't recall the question, but he was asked like something like if this means more to him. I think something about the win. He's like, not really. And he's like, I'm over this shit. I was like, what are we cursing in both games. I mean, it's not a
with
big
a French
deal.
accent.
He is just so confident already.
He's smooth with it. He's smooth.
He has it.
Yeah. Before we go to break, I just wanted you to know that I heard that we sent you out to Summer League to do your NBA reporting and whatnot, and be front row for Big Vic and whatnot. And I heard that you've been getting in some nightlife as well, with your back of the closet, what dress on.
It's
at the Usher
I'm
concert.
sorry. Did you not know that you have to
singing
show up for
Jodeci,
Usher?
but you at Usher's residency singing Jodeci.
Well, we were waiting for the man of honor, to come out. So we were waiting for that, right? And so then there he is, Usher baby, So he came out, and then I had to be in my best for him, You understand?
But your cheeks was not out though. You wasn't doing the Keke thing, right? You was
Okay. Well, first of all, look, and you know what? You see my little caption here? I don't know why Keke's baby daddy didn't understand this, because Usher even said at the concert, like, fellas, I'm just trying to, get the ladies warmed up for you, and so when you
That's
go
what
home
I'm saying.
later,
Usher out here doing us favors.
Exactly.
Come on, man.
And he was close to me.
You better
He was
put on
close to
seduction
me.
and go have a Coke and a
Mike,
smile.
see?
Put on seduction and be quiet.
You see how close he was? You see how close he was to me? I was ready. I was ready. I was going to let security tackle me. I was willing to. Because, I mean,
it would have been, you was about to risk it all? You about to risk it all?
And that is why Keke's baby daddy, he had no place, because of course you're going to act like that. It don't matter if you married, if you single, it's Usher. So he just needs to understand and know what the rules are when you see Usher, and that's it.
Just go watch the episode of Boondocks. Tom went through this already. It's Usher, man. That's all y'all hall pass. Like, chill out, bro. I don't even want to get into this fool. Just be happy you with Keke in the first place. Just thank good God that you got Keke. And as long as you're coming over you shouldn't have nothing to worry about.
They unfollowed each other, so I don't know about that. Anyway.
Dumbass. Anyway, I didn't even want to bring that up. But I'm happy for you. You out here living your best life in your red dress and your high heels and some of that sweet perfume going to Usher concert.
It's, first of all, the court is more open. It's going fast, but it's less physical, and I get fouled a lot, but not as much. Nothing to compare. And yes, and people are players are just flying, Out there it's more underground, pushing underground, big box outs. Here it's great athletes, the best in the world, way more talent. And but I like this better though.
We love it when Yahoo Sports Vincent Goodwill joins the program. Check out the Ball Don't Lie Network and the Good Word with Goodwill podcast. But he's ours first and foremost. He's our brother. It's Summer League, man. You've done this. This ain't your first rodeo. You've done Summer League. You've seen the hype. You were there for Zion a couple years ago. But this does feel different. And we never let the fact of the Summer League stop us from getting out of control with the takes. You've seen 2 games of Wemby, 2 very different performances from Wemby. Your early impressions, and then I would also love just a feel, because I'm living vicariously through you guys. I'd also love from both you and Nat, just what the vibe has been like, what the Thomas and Mack Center, what Vegas has been like with the big Spear and shit, and just everything going on around this just electric atmosphere with the next big thing, Vin. Go ahead.
First off, I'm never going to call his grown ass Wemby. That sounds too much like Gumby.
That sound like Delicious? Is that too much like Delicious?
Yeah.
Delicious!
Yeah, I think we need to call him Big Vic. I think we need to call him Big Vic. That makes a lot more sense to me. But as far as impressions, even the first game where everybody said he struggled and people were coming out with all the crazy hot takes, you could see the gifts. You could see the handle. Maybe he dribbled once or twice too many times going into traffic, trying to figure out the speed and everything else. But you could see that the gifts were there. This is not a guy that's going to struggle for long once he gets to playing real basketball. Like, Summer League basketball is prison ball. I don't know if y'all know. It's far more physical than you think. It's dudes literally trying to make a name for themselves. They're trying to stick on a roster. Dudes are trying not to get dunked on. Dudes are trying to dunk on folks. Like, the atmosphere is just a lot more different here. But with Vic, to me, he's not necessarily a great shooter yet, but he's got great form. It looks good defensively. I think he's got a good feel for, hey, if you're going to put this thing in my face, I'm going to slap it back and send it down the other end. He just looks very fluid. And to me, I don't know if he's going to be like a rookie of the year or whatever, but he looks to be the goods. Like, if everybody else is going to jump off, I'm buying everything that Big Vic is selling. And as far as Vegas, Michael Smith, it's hot as hell here. It's a lot of traffic. Like, last night, it took me an hour to get back to my hotel room because they're doing this Formula One nonsense and construction is wild and everything else. Vegas just ain't my jam because I don't gamble. I don't. That ain't my get down. I'm black. I like my money. You know what I mean? Now, Michael, you should have been out here this weekend. You should have. I'll chastise you later for other reasons. You'll get it in the text message. But yeah, this is a good time for people who like having a good time.
Yeah, like Natalie in a Johnny Gill red dress at the Usher concert.
First of all, it was fuchsia pink. Please get it right. Get the color right now. Okay. What? I'm just saying. I'm just letting you know. Yeah.
What's it been like?
What's
the energy like?
It's great. First of all, I'm going to call him Wemby because I have like Wemby mania and I have all kind of little things for it. So I'm going to call him Wemby. It's been crazy. Friday night, I couldn't even get a seat in the arena. You know, if you like, it was crazy. It was packed. It was like you had to go to the second floor. Like everyone was like, no, I'm holding the seat, you know, so there was just so much buzz around it. I have not, in my little time going to Summer League, have not seen the inability to get tickets being sold out. You know, there were scalpers out there. They were like, prices were jacked up. So there was just a lot of buzz around him. So that was fun. And then in general, you know, like Usher's been a big thing out here. I don't want to like go back to that, but a lot of NBA players were at the Usher residency. So that was a big deal. And then, you know how it is in general, you know, with Summer League, just everyone walking
the scene
around.
Is so thick.
Yeah.
All the players, all the hustlers.
Cool. It's so cool for fans. I think it's one of the best fan experiences. That's why I was slightly kind of disappointed with like the hijacking of the prices. Because to me, this is one of the best experiences a fan can have, like to get close to NBA players for a reasonable price, you know, and go. So it's been amazing to me.
And no romance without finance. No romance without finance, y'all. Gotta. Hey, look, I think that Usher thing might be running its course because I think it was Winnie Harlow last night that he was going to try to sing to, and she went and sat on Kuz's lap. Like, I don't think people are realizing, like, this is part of the show, and all of the, shall we say, controversy around it has darkened has darkened it a bit. Like, don't get me wrong. You don't sit in the front row at a comedy show or a concert with a nice looking woman or anything of the sort. Like, you're going to wind up being on that Summer Jam screen. But if you come into Vegas and you got a woman that's worthy of being sung to, you can't be out here tripping on it.
That's what I'm saying.
You know,
there goes my baby. That's all you got to say. There goes my baby, and leave it at that. Or my baby mama.
All due respect to Winnie Harlow, this concert has been going on the residency for months, and this is not a new thing. Like, he's been doing the singing to people, and it's just because Keke's baby daddy wanted to act a fool while he's brought attention to it. But Taraji was just on stage with him the other day acting crazy. Saweetie was just there singing
we are not gonna get into no relationship talk.
No, I'm not. I'm just saying, I'm just letting you know it's not ending its course. And in fact, Black Twitter is calling for all these stars to sit down if they don't know how to act. And if you actually watch that video, it didn't really look like he was going to sing to her. He was in that area, and when he started walking, she just hopped on Kuz's lap. Usher likes older women, baby. Like, this is just a show. It's entertainment. That's it.
I'm gonna do a smooth segue to we don't know how to act when it comes to Summer League performances. Like, you know, it's all we got, and we love to we love to get excited about it or overreact to it negatively. See Big Vic's first game. I want to throw some names because, again, then you're a Summer League OG. You didn't see a lot of awesome performances, and guys, it didn't translate into the real thing when the lights really came on. I'm just going to throw out some names, talk about who you want to. If you can get to them all, great. Cason Wallace, Anthony Black, Keyonte George, Orlando Robinson, and of course, Scoot Henderson. Just some of your impressions of some of the other non-Big Vic performances that you've seen through the first few days of Summer League in Vegas.
Scoot Henderson looks real. I'll say that. He looks very, very real. There's no myth. Like, the jump shot, the long jump shot, that's going to need work, but he has such a great feel. And I think that's something that Summer League will reveal and is transferable to the NBA, regular NBA season, is a feel for the game. I feel like Scoot, even before he got hurt, and who knows if he'll play for the rest of Summer League, I felt like he has an NBA feel. He has an NBA body. He knows where he wants to go on the floor, and he can attack from the mid-range. That's something that a lot of players don't necessarily come into the league with. They're either taking long jump shots or going straight to the rim. They don't know how to explore that real estate in between. And another guy that you didn't mention, Jabari Smith Jr. from the Houston Rockets. Yeah. I know we haven't paid much attention to the Rockets for very obvious reasons. Yeah. And Ime Udoka, after Ime Udoka told James Harden there's only room for one of us types in this town, I was like, oh, this is going to open the door to Jabari Smith. And he's out here balling. Like, I like the feel. Once again, the feel that he's playing with, the jump shot, the length. He's learning how to use his length. He's learning how to finish explosively over the top while not exerting too much. So I feel like year 2 for a guy like that, his body is filling out. I'm liking what I'm seeing from him so far.
Yeah, that game winner from him. Yeah, the game winner from him was great. Like right before the Spurs played, because like everyone's like ready for that game to end. We're thinking, all right, come on, wrap this up. It has started to lag. Everyone wants to see Wemby, and like it doesn't look like the Rockets are going to win. And then he just hits that 3. It was crazy. The arena went crazy. So that was a really, really fun moment. That was actually the best game of that night. And then I would say the same thing for Scoot. I mean, it's actually really unfortunate that like he's, probably sitting out the rest of Summer League because of the injury. But I think he had the potential. Maybe he can't steal the show from Wemby, but like he's been great. He's definitely the second biggest highlight, I think.
It's been fun, man.
Big Vic. We can't call this grown man Wemby.
I'm not saying that. I'm going to say Wemby.
I'll say Big Vic. I'll lead a Wemby for Nat. Dude, hit me up and let me know what I've been missing in Vegas. Bo been keeping me posted on his exploits and adventures, so I know what Bo up to.
There's some other stuff you need to know.
All right then.
Be coming off the bench, playing with the second unit that's a lot younger than the Warriors of the past have been with JK and Moses. Just what do you think of their depth, their bench players that you might be playing alongside?
You coaching?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, I don't know what the situation is going to be yet. You know what I mean? So I think that'll be for us to figure out once we get going.
You've never come off the bench your entire career. Is that something that you'd be willing to do?
Like I said, it'll be a conversation for us when camp starts or whatnot. But me and Steve have talked or whatnot. But that ain't something that you'd be like, "What up, man? Where you starting? You coming up?" You know what I mean? So I think we'll figure all that stuff out in camp.
Nat, I'm sure you're excited to talk about your new favorite Warrior, Chris Paul. But no, two things. One, I'm not sure why that's even a question, why that's even a topic of conversation. And two, I'm not sure why the answer isn't simple. So, to the first point, who cares who starts? It's who finishes. It's like, are you on the court for the most important portions of the game? Now, typically, as you know, the Warriors have had so many blowouts over the years, so a lot of times, the bench is finishing the games anyway for them. But, like, are you on the court in crunch time? Which Chris Paul traditionally has been one of the most clutch players, and not just from a figurative standpoint, but from a statistical standpoint, of his generation. So that's what's most important. Forget who starts the game, who finishes it, Anybody trying to turn you into Russell Westbrook.
Right.
On the other hand, though, if you're Chris Paul, your answer should be, hell yeah, I'll come off the bench. I'll do whatever it takes. Like, I've been a starter, I've been the star, I've been the best point guard in the league, I made my money, I've been the Players Association president, I had the State Farm commercials, I done been there, done that, got the t-shirt. Damn, that looks weird. And I don't have a ring to show for it. So whatever this dynasty needs me to do to get in where I fit in, if I could just get on this train to another championship, I'm down to do it. The end. It doesn't have to be this we'll figure it out. What's to figure out? There's nothing to figure out. Like, I'm just happy to be here. That would be my answer if I'm Chris Paul and I've suffered all the awful bad luck and setbacks that he suffered throughout his career that's denied the point guard a championship. If I'm the point guard, I'm thanking God that that's my teammate now. And I don't care whether I start or come off the bench.
Well, that would be the answer if you were happy to be there. I mean, he's saying that, and he sent the nice little welcome video to Dub fans. But I don't think if Chris Paul would have gotten to be a buyout candidate, I think he would have never chosen the Warriors ever. So, yes, that's his team now. I believe he will embrace it because he's a competitor, but it's awkward. I mean, everyone sort of talks about the awkwardness about it a little bit, not last night, but just, they've been competitors, right? For really going against each other. So, but clearly starting matters to him. I think that's what he revealed in the answer. He did say later also in the presser that he still wants to play a couple more years. So maybe he thinks that matters, but I don't think, him not starting means he's not going to play starting minutes. And like you said, I don't think that's going to stop him from being on the floor when they close. But clearly the biggest issue during this Warriors run, and I mean, from how many years you're going back, has always been, what do you do in the non-Steph minutes? It doesn't matter what era they were in. And so for him not to understand the importance of why they need him for that, I can't believe he doesn't understand it, but Steve Kerr is definitely going to be having that Andre Iguodala conversation with him.
That's the best point, the non-Steph minutes. If there has been an Achilles heel, it's been that, and relatively speaking. I'm listening to you make eloquent points, and I'm just looking, it's like, damn, that really is the center of the NBA universe. Like, damn, why did I not go to Vegas? Like, I really dropped the ball on this. Like, who else have you seen and who else have you run into? I did live vicariously through you. Like, who else have you rubbed elbows with? Because everybody there, everybody and their mama there, except for me.
Yeah, except for you. And people were asking about you. I have seen our friends of the show.
Wasn't nobody asking about me.
No, they did. They did. I swear people were asking about you. We'll get into that, but there was so many people coming up to me, and for me, honestly, it was like, oh my God, people know me. It was weird because, I'm still excited. This is still new for me. Yeah. So they knew me from Brother from Another. They were like, is Mike here? And I'm like, he did not come, So, but I saw, Kurt Helin, who is one of our friends of the show. And I saw DA in person, met David Aldridge in person. And I did. Yeah, look, and there you go. Spears.
That's and then love. Jay right there.
So I saw some of the crew. Man. I also saw Sam
right
Amick.
There.
Yeah. I saw Sam Amick when I was there. Yeah, just seeing people who come on the show, seeing our people. So it was really, really fun.
Hey, Kurt, look at that.
There is. Yeah, she's selling it short, by the way. Not only does everybody know her and love her, she's rubbing shoulders with Usher while she's out here. She's 10 feet away from Usher, hanging, pointing at him. Kurt, everybody knows that.
When I was on the phone the other day, she said, yeah, you were supposed to be out here introducing me to people. I'm like, I get the sense it would have been the other way around. You'd have probably been introducing me to some people.
No.
Yeah, I walked up and she was talking to you guys, J.A., David Aldridge. I'm like, do I need to do introductions here? And they're like, no, they're giving her hugs. They're like, hey, how you doing, Nat? I'm like, right, man, I'm just along for the ride, man.
Right there. Well, and exactly. And see, that's Kurt. That's why you the man. You're like, you know what? I'm gonna get in where I fit in. You just low key. We were just talking about a non-rookie, a non-Wemby story. We'll get to Wemby in a second, or Big Vic as Big Vince prefers. The Chris Paul situation in Golden State. We're just talking about that. He had his little introduction or what have you, and seated next to Steph. Is that a thing, starting or coming off the bench? And if it is, should it really matter at this point to Chris Paul?
Should it? No, probably it shouldn't. He, like I heard you before, like he should be chasing a ring. He should be trying to get the one thing that's eluded him. But Michael, you guys know this, and this ain't an NBA thing. The ego gets in the way sometimes. Hey, I'm a starter. I am the point guard. I am the future Hall of Famer. I start. They may end up having to go with the situation, right, where he starts and plays 4 minutes, and then Looney comes in, and then they bring him in with the bench units at, the 8 or 12 minute mark. Like, they're going to have to do some juggling, which sometimes politics of the locker room, man. Sometimes you just got to keep the stars happy, because if Chris Paul's not happy, now you're just messing with the team chemistry, and you've got to keep that smooth. There's just, I think these Warriors have a chance, but like there's not some huge margin for error for them in the West. Like they've got to nail it, and Chris Paul's got to be a part of that by buying in and taking heavy bench minutes with that second unit and playing his way. Because you're right, it's even the year they won when they won the title 2 years ago, their playoff minutes without Steph were negative. Like they couldn't, even in the postseason. It's just you can get away with it when Steph plays 44 a night.
Yeah. Speaking of unhappy stars, so nothing's really changed on the Damian Lillard front since we last talked last week, Kurt. But there was a report that the Blazers were looking for 4 first-round picks and 2 quality players, I think was the phrasing of it. And I got to thinking, man, and we talked about this. I'm like, and then since we last talked, but I'm sure Natalie and the gang covered it, Aaron Goodwin acknowledged that he's been telling teams, you will get a disgruntled star if you trade it for Dame Lillard. Basically, don't bother. It's Miami or bust for him. Which brought me back to where I was to begin with. Like, you only have leverage if you have alternatives. So, you don't have a no-trade clause. You're saying all you want is Miami. If the Blazers don't trade you to Miami for whatever, whether it involves a third team or not, what is he going to do? Is he going to sit out? And so then I'm thinking back to last summer, Nat, Kevin Durant. Entire world stopped when Durant was like, I want to be traded from Brooklyn. And then he started the season in Brooklyn. He eventually got traded to Phoenix, but a trade never materialized. Like, what is Damian Lillard's alternative if the Blazers do not trade him to Miami? We talked about this last week. I think I was on with Ashley and you came on, Kurt. It's like, he might want to open his mind to some plan Bs, because this thing may not happen, and if it does, it won't happen anytime soon. So I wonder, could he actually just end up back in Portland and be like, you know what, it never materialized, but I'm here to win and nothing to see here, let's just move on?
I think he could open his mind to other alternatives and possibilities, but I'll throw this out there too. Portland and their front office might have to, because the market just isn't there. This is a 32-year-old, as great as he is, he's still a top 10, top 15 player in the league, a guy you can do a lot with, can make you a contender in the right situation. He's 32. He's going to be making over $60 million when he's 36 in 4 years. There is not some long line of teams clamoring to get him right now. And the market is what the market is. You are just going to get what's offered. And if that's 3 first-round picks and a couple young players, that might just be the market. That might not be what Portland wants. I can tell you it's not what Portland fans out here have told me they want, they're emotionally invested and they want this Gobert-like return. You're not getting it. You're going to get 3 first-round picks. So I think eventually they might come around to it. But for Dame, by the way, what does unhappy Dame look like? I'm not even sure I've ever seen unhappy. Like, what is? I can't picture him holding out. He's not going to go Jimmy Butler in Minnesota.
Right. And who knows that better than Portland, Natalie? So, like, am I crazy, Natalie, for thinking that Damian Lillard, he wants to go to Miami, but if it doesn't happen, I don't think he's saying I'm not going to play basketball. Am I crazy for thinking that he could actually be in a Blazers uniform again?
No, I think he'll play if they haven't gotten something worked out. I don't think he's like that. I mean, I don't know if it could be like an Anthony Davis situation where they try to sit him because, when he was leaving the Pelicans. Like, they didn't want him playing because they didn't want him to get injured. But I think he'll want to play. You know, Dame's a competitor, but I just also think like the demands. I mean, the Blazers probably are not being realistic, but I also think his demands are a little ridiculous. Like heat or nobody. You know, it's like heat or bust. You don't have the leverage to do this, Dame. Like, you know, the whole loyalty thing that people are saying. It's like your loyalty got you that nice big contract, and so you can't just expect them to. Yeah, you can't expect them to throw away their future. So it's an interesting dynamic between the two. I'm still tired of talking about it. Like, I don't like, you know, I want it to be done. No, I didn't mean it like that, but I want it to be done. I want it to be done so we can just see like what the teams will be. But I don't think it's getting done for a while. I don't.
Well, somebody
she just wants to get it done so she can talk about Harden.
Oh, right. But I wasn't going to go to Harden. I was going to say somebody who I thought we were done talking trade about was Zion Williamson. Once upon a time, rumored to be maybe headed to Portland for the third pick that turned in Scoot Henderson. But I saw Chris Haynes, Kurt, say that Zion could still be had for the right price, whatever that is. Is there fire with that smoke? Like, is that still a possibility from what you're hearing that Zion could be moved? And if so, to whom and for what?
For the record, by the way, David Griffin was on NBA radio this morning saying, we haven't even brought him up in a conversation. I don't know where all this comes from.
Oh, which means he's out the door.
Yeah, which means, I'm about to say, that comes in a 5-pound bag of fertilizer with everything. Like, that's all. What I've heard all along is that they just want a lot, but they were testing the market. There's an incredible frustration within that organization with Zion and, frankly, Brandon Ingram's willingness to do what they feel is necessary to get on the court, to play through some stuff, to be out there when it matters. And so they're open to, you're going to have to blow them away. They think that, man, and they're right. Like, if in an ideal world where Zion and Brandon Ingram and CJ McCollum all play and all those role players are there, they're a good team. So they don't want to take some huge step back from that, but somebody blew them away. I think they'd really listen. That's kind of the vibe I've gotten talking to people. Nobody's really gone there yet because it's year one of that max deal. And when was the last time we saw him play? But somebody, if he has if he plays well for the first, for 4 months of the season up to the trade deadline, you think somebody would jump in, Natalie?
Absolutely. I know the Knicks would jump in. I don't know how Mariah Mills will feel about him going to another location, but
name that shall not be mentioned.
No, but I mean, obviously, look, Zion's camp, he's always been connected to New York. So you have to imagine if he becomes available. I mean, look, obviously the injuries and stuff with him are always a risk. And a lot of I shouldn't say the reports, but things that we've been hearing about in terms of, how he takes care of his body, all of that kind of stuff. That would obviously concern any team, but I still have to imagine that the Knicks would probably be one of the number one suitors for Zion if he really does become available and if he's been playing well during the season.
My first summer league experience was actually Zion Summer League, which was an incredible experience.
The earthquake night.
I'm sure it pales in comparison to the electricity around Vegas when it comes to Victor Wembanyama, who within the hour, we learned that the Spurs are shutting him down. He's done, had a rough outing, relatively speaking, the first time out, had a Hall of Fame outing the second time out. And we started the show, Kurt, talking about the very high praise. Bigger Bill Russell was the quote from Jerry West. I'd love to know your impressions having now seen Victor Wembanyama live in person and in the flesh in Las Vegas.
First thing I got to say, and Natalie will back me up on this because she's there. We know you can say he's 7'3.5" until you see him physically in person. Like how big he is really hard to describe. It is kind of eye popping, even in the league for those of us who cover the league or around sports. Yeah, exactly. It's one of those. Exactly. I'm around 6'9" guys and I don't even blink anymore. He walks in the room, you're like, holy. So you get past that. I thought, first off, his defense was really good, and that was always like, hey, the floor for him is all defensive level player every year, and I can absolutely see that. Like, he's he's blocked 2 threes since he's been here. He disrupts everything when he figures out who to help off of and when. And his offensive game was coming along. Again, what I've been impressed with, which this is, again, the first time I've seen it in person, is there's a maturity about him. Like, he just doesn't sound like a 19-year-old. He sounds like a guy who just is together and kind of gets it. And that makes, A, probably a good fit with Popovich and the Spurs, but B, like, those are the guys who figure it out, right? Like, those are the guys who work it out, who are just, he's not running around immature. He seems very ready for the moment. And that's like the best sign out of all this.
Yeah.
You know who is immature? The people on Twitter who rushed to call him a bust. All of them who got way more attention than they deserve. Go ahead, Natalie.
Yeah, I was going to say, and I actually just also go back to that other quote he had. I thought was interesting when he said, like, the game is more physical, overseas than like here, because, it's funny. I was in an Uber and the driver, I was talking to him about it, and he's just like, oh yeah, they're kind of soft over there. And he's, and I was just like, are they? And so, but to hear him say that, because that's consistent. Like, Luka has said the same thing. A lot of the European players have said that. Like, it's a much more physical game, over there than here. Obviously, the players here might be more skilled, more talented, but I just thought that was interesting. So I was just like, oh yeah, he's saying y'all soft. No, I'm joking. Look, it was interesting.
I said that the gap is closed if it's non-existent between European professional basketball and American professional basketball. I mean, it might even be the opposite, given how many principles and concepts we've adopted from the European game. So anybody that's still disparaging the European game, the physicality, the level and quality of play is like in the Stone Age. Kurt, I'd love to know who else has stood out to you. I mean, looked like Miami got another one in Orlando Robinson. Casey Wallace has been impressive. Signed his contract and immediately got to work. Anthony Black, Keyonte George. And we talked earlier about Scoot Henderson. Yeah. Anybody you want to dive into in particular? Anybody we're missing? Jabari Smith even, with a point to prove, with an axe to grind against Summer League. Anybody else that's jumped out, or whether it's individuals or even just looking at, young cores, in the macro sense, OKC, Orlando, a lot of buzz about some of these young teams and the talent that they've assembled.
I think you just got to my point. With Oklahoma City, you're like, you picture Zion Williamson, and you're like, wow, that guy's really kind of gets how to play. He's really smart. You know what stands out here? Because you've been here, it's such a glorified pickup game, largely, right? Mm-hmm. Like it's not the most beautiful basketball you will ever see. And guys who just know how to play, Scoot Henderson showed that his first game, head up, running the floor, getting the ball to the right guys, making the right decisions. It leaps off the page. Zion Williams was doing that, and you're like, wow, you put him next to Shai Gilgeous-Alexander in that backcourt. They got Chet Holmgren up front with Williams, and suddenly you're like, that is a really deep, really good. That team's probably a play-in team now, this season, and they have literally 35 picks over the next 7 years. Like, it is ridiculous how good they can be in a few years. And that one leaped out at me. I will also say I liked Keyonte George. That guy's a bucket. That guy, I mean, it's summer league, so it flows. Certain guys, it fits their system, but if you can score, man, there's a role for you. And that guy just looked like a bucket.
I'm
Last
curious.
thing I wanted to get. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Natalie.
I was just curious what you think about Brandon Miller, because a lot of people are still like second guessing whether Charlotte did the right pick. I mean, we only saw a little bit from Scoot, but curious your thoughts on how he.
Yeah, I wrote this morning. I've gone with meh.
Yeah,
it's not
but
bad.
It's summer league.
It's not terrible. It's summer league, and what really ultimately matters is improvement. Like, he's looked a little better through a couple games, and what does he look like when training camp starts? And what's he look like a year from now? Because it worries me. You know who's worried me? Jaden Ivins. I really like him, and he has not blown the door. Second-year guys who got regular run who don't come to Vegas and don't blow my doors off. Don't come out here and look like Jabari Smith. I shouldn't be. Tari Eason, like, I shouldn't be here. Why am I here? Mm-hmm. He hasn't done that. It's a little concerning. We'll see where Brandon Miller is in here, but it's not inspiring. It's not the potential you saw with Wemby-Bill. how good Scoot looked, how good Amen Thompson looked in his half.
Yeah.
That guy's he is the entire athletic package, and you can see what a point guard he is going to be. And maybe Fred VanVleet can mentor him a little bit, and he can slide in there afterwards. Like, there was a lot to like, and then you see Brandon Miller, and you're like, okay. Like, so we'll see where it goes. It wasn't inspiring.
So summer league matters to a point. We know that the postseason is really all that matters. The regular season, some say, doesn't matter as much anymore, which is a problem for the NBA for no other reason other than perception, right? I can't get behind this NBA Cup. And I think, and I need y'all help with this, because like the NBA has a regular season, an in-season tournament, and it's called the regular season. And I'm just like, so you're gonna allocate certain games as NBA Cup group play, then knockout stage. Like there's a prize pool, but like, look, man, these dudes don't care about the All-Star game. Like, what are the stakes here? Like, I know they've been talking about this for a while, but now that I'm seeing the details, I'm like, am I missing something? Am I overlooking something? Is it something that I haven't read or heard that I should be aware of to make me care about this thing? Or better yet, to make players care about this any more than they would a typical regular season game, Kurt? Because if they don't care, why should we care? And so what's the point? This nice new trophy? Like, I just don't get the stakes involved here.
You know, you come back to me in November when you guys here on Brother from Another are skipping a segment of talking about Tua in Miami and what a quarterback he is, so you can talk about the Heat in this tournament. And you get back to me. I'm like you. I'm skeptical. I think they've set it up, honestly, about as well as you can set it up. The games are all regular season games. It's not going to affect the flow. Only two teams play more than one game. You know, like. Actually, two teams will play 83 games if they get to the title. Which don't count. Doing this we'll see how much people care. I think you kind of hit the nail on the head for me, which is like, this is built into European soccer where they got this idea, but that's also the playoffs. You play a full season to get to the Champions League. FA Cup is your playoffs. We got playoffs. So
yeah.
I just don't think anybody's not going to talk about Alabama football so they can get out and talk about this. We'll see.
Yeah.
Another excuse for Natalie to go to Vegas, though. Natalie, you can go to Vegas and go see Usher again. Yo, so no show tomorrow. Wednesday. Who's doing the show Wednesday?
It is Michael Hotley and Ash Nicole Moss, and I will be with them checking in from Vegas.
How long are you staying in Vegas?
Well, I'm here for WNBA All-Star, so through the week.
That's right. Oh my, talking about the center of the, how do I forget that? That's the real show.
Hey, thank you for watching Brother from Another. If you haven't hit that subscribe button, go ahead and do that now. Don't forget, you can catch us 3 to 4 weekdays on PeacockTV.com and on Sirius XM Channel 85.